Saber que en esta vida no tengo amor, que solo vivo de pena y dolor. Con tu partida quedo en la soledad y muere mi corazón. Un purgatorio en vida voy a sufrir con esta pena de tu amor, predestinado a ser un infeliz, vivir sin ti, tenerte así, morir en vida sin ti. Oh, sin ti, oh, sin ti, oh.
Hello everybody, it's Mr. Unsworth bringing you the third portion of our mixing process film. So video number 3 for applied audio production class, dealing with basics of mixing a song and the process that you might go through. And just to review, we've had 2 other videos, and the first one was really just about getting set up and dealing with what instruments are in front of you and what sections of the song that you're dealing with. So breaking down the piece on 2 dimensions. One is the instruments, and then creating groups of instruments, and on your mixing software, creating subgroups and submix paths, and dealing with your groups of instruments, and then also dealing with the sections of the song. So those 2 dimensions. So number 3 here, we're talking about landscape levels and which instruments go in the foreground, in the foundation, and in the ambient levels during each section of the song, and also creating a larger dynamic picture of this whole song. So sort of getting that in your head, which sections are the strongest and which are the weakest. Having this kind of grid going on, which we'll fill out today. So we're just going to be dealing with these first 5 sections of the song. The intro, the 2 verses, the vocal hook, and the instrumental hook. And you can see how I've basically created landscape levels for my 5 groups. And then in the sections of the song, it just goes intro, verse 1 to 2, instrumental hook. Just deal with that much of the song. So today's focus is going to be within each group of instruments, dealing with them in terms of EQ, panning, and fader automation. Obviously, these are 3 really important aspects of mixing. EQing will really help us get some separation and hear things more clearly. Of course, the same thing with panning. You can move things in the stereo spectrum so they can jump out a little better. And of course, the main thing is the fader automation, making your faders move so that you can bring out different sections. So let's focus in first of all on the rhythm section and the piano. We got these 2 piano tracks, subgroup, and then we've got all these percussion instruments and the bass. Here is the EQ that I put on the bass. So you can hear the bass is really standing out really nicely, and all the percussion instruments using pans and the faders standing up. So let's focus in on the horn section, right on that spot where they come into the foreground on the instrumental break. This time we will listen to them without pans, and without EQ. Move the pans to the center. Already got them set there, but let's move them to the center and listen to it. Okay, so now let's do it with the panning. We got to also pan the main tracks. Sorry, I should say the group bus. Okay, so that's, you can see how I've got this is the saxophone, this is the trombone, and then two trumpets. Got them panned a little bit. Now let's add EQ and a little bit of bass boost for the saxophone, a little bit of bass boost and mid-cut for the trombone, and some high-end boost for the trumpets. Hopefully you could hear how that was changing up with those horns through the adding EQ and the panning, definitely clarifying things and giving each of those instruments its own spot in the mix. We're going to jump to the vocal tracks. We got 3 of them. Looking at them here, this is the main one, and this is where the background vocals come in on the vocal hook, and then this is where there was a little edit was done. I didn't replace it. I just wanted you to see where that was done. So you've actually had a choice between this and this one, but it jumps from one to the other. And so let's hear that.
Un purgatorio en vida voy a sufrir con esta pena de tu amor, predestinado a ser un infeliz, vivir sin ti, quererte así, morir en vida sin ti, oh, sin ti, oh, sin ti, wow.
The voices without any EQ. Now I've added EQ right here to the group, the bus master here of the voices, and this is the EQ I've added a couple of little pull downs and a little boost in the upper register. So let's hear what that sounds like.
Un purgatorio en vida voy a sufrir con esta pena de tu amor, predestinado a ser un infeliz, vivir sin ti, quererte así, morir en vida sin ti, oh.
So now let's listen to the track with the voice in that section with everything added.
Un purgatorio en vida voy a sufrir con esta pena de tu amor, predestinado a ser un infeliz, vivir sin ti, quererte así, morir en vida sin ti.
So I went through and really did some serious automation on the main vocal track right in here. And you've got to kind of go even line by line on some of these non-professional vocal tracks. So let's listen to that section one more time with the full ensemble, and can check out some of the automation. I just changed the way the flute is functioning in the mix. I put it more in the ambient area. This is the track right here, and then I probably brought it up in this section. So right when it's doubling the voice, I want it to be further underneath the voice. I heard that on that last mix, so I brought it down a bit, and then a little bit later on, as it gets into the vocal hook, the flute comes up a bit. So let's check that out.
Un purgatorio en vida voy a sufrir con esta pena de tu amor, predestinado a ser un infeliz, vivir sin ti, quererte así, morir en vida sin ti, oh, sin ti, oh, sin ti, oh.
One last thing to deal with today, and that is the string section. I was just listening to the full thing, and I wasn't digging it. The way the strings were working, the way they were sounding, the EQ, and also just the way they were blending. So changed up a few things, did some automation, and added EQ to the subgroup bus fader. So here's the string section, sort of in purple, and the bus faders here where it says Bose, and I just put this EQ in, and also did a bunch of panning and did some fader automation moves, which just on the bus fader, I brought them down in the verse, and then just one little hit that came up, and then back down, and then sort of popping up again, and then as it goes into the instrumental hook, have them up even more. But the EQing definitely is going to make it more subtle, but ambient, but present when it needs to be. Let's check that out.
Saber que en esta vida no tengo amor, que solo vivo de pena y dolor, con tu partida quedo en la soledad. Un purgatorio en vida voy a sufrir con esta pena de tu amor, predestinado a ser un infeliz, vivir sin ti, quererte así, morir en vida sin ti, oh, sin ti, oh, sin ti, oh.
Okay, I'm liking that a whole lot better. Hopefully you could hear the popping out when it needs to, like at the end there. Once a couple other times here and there. Of course, you know, you're thinking to yourself, this thing really needs some reverb. So we're going to get into that in a future video. So there'll be 2 more videos, and eventually we will get reverb on the voices and strings and the whole thing, and polish this whole thing off.